Should we regulate new technologies?
Best not at all.
And what if they have a negative effect?
Then you just have to wait for the negative to kick in.
But won't it be too late by then?
I totally get where you're coming from. The Collingridge dilemma.
The English scientist David Collingridge came up with it back in 1980. Essentially, it means that by the time we realize the downsides of new technologies, they have already been widely adopted everywhere. By then, it's too late to change anything or take action against the negative effects. In any case, it will be very costly by then.
But maybe it's just a minor issue. Can you think of any examples of this dilemma?
Collingridge himself uses the atomic bomb as an example. It was developed out of fear that Nazi Germany would develop an atomic bomb. The result was that while Nazi Germany did not develop one, many other countries did so later. So far, it has been used twice against Japan, and since then it has only been used defensively as a deterrent. But we don't know whether it contributes to world peace in the long run or to the destruction of humanity.
That is an extreme example.
There are many other examples of the Collingridge dilemma. Asbestos, for instance, was used as an insulation material for a long time and was incorporated into many buildings. It was highly praised, but it was not until much later that it became widely recognized that the substance is highly carcinogenic. Today, a fortune is being spent to renovate all the buildings containing asbestos.
That's common knowledge.
Another example is global warming caused by CO2. We have known for a while that CO2 warms the atmosphere. For a long time, it was thought that it did not cause global warming. Today, phasing out coal, natural gas, and oil comes with enormous costs.
And then there's still a powerful lobby that wants us to believe the effects aren't really that bad and that we can carry on as before.
That would lead to high costs in the short term. It's the same short-term thinking that caused the problems in the first place. In the short term, it doesn't seem smart to invest a lot of money into investigating consequences that will only become apparent in the long term.
Short-term and long-term goals don't seem to go together.
Most dilemmas stem from the conflict between short-term and long-term goals. They are fundamentally different. What makes sense in the long term doesn't necessarily make sense in the short term. The same is true in reverse. Short-term goals don't make sense in the long term.
So, what's the best thing to do here?
Let's start with the situation at the beginning. A new technology is discovered that looks promising. It could be a new mode of transportation, like the automobile, a building material like asbestos, or a means of communication like the internet. Because it is hardly used at first, it is easy to model and modify. There are no binding standards yet.
In the early days of a technology's development, it is usually very easy to change the technology. Its rate of development and diffusion can be reduced or stimulated. It can be hedged around with all kinds of control, and it may be possible to ban the technology altogether.
That would mess with technological progress if it is prohibited.
It's actually never the case that a new technology is banned right from the start. Not even with the atomic bomb. We refuse to acknowledge the consequences of a new technology, even though the dangers and negative effects are usually already known.
They just get ignored.
While the negative effects are known from the start, their extent is obviously still very small. After all, a new technology is hardly used at first.
The negative consequences seem to be minor.
Furthermore, statements about the future is just speculation. We can only guess, because we have no certain knowledge. In that sense, guesses about the futures are always open to criticism.
Nevertheless, when it comes to climate change, for example, we can fairly precisely calculate by how many degrees the Earth is going to warm by. So far, the climate researchers' hypotheses have proven to be correct.
Criticism of the uncertainty of these results is, of course, just an excuse. People come up with unlikely counterexamples that offers a simple solution.
These lobbies are very influential today, and they can sway scientists by offering them funding.
If you want to make decisions based on reliable knowledge, you can only refer to what has happened so far. Facts always lie in the past. Therefore, it seems reasonable to dismiss assumptions about the future as uncertain.
In hindsight, though, those who ignored the negative consequences are seen as unreliable.
It's like when someone jumps off a skyscraper and he flies past the 10th floor and says, "Everything is going well so far."
By the time he hits the ground, it's too late.
And once the technology is established and is widely used, changing it comes at high cost. In most cases, a powerful lobby then tries to prevent any change. Once again, it relies on short-term thinking. In the short term, it is still more expensive to deal with the negative consequences. But the worse the consequences become, the more costly the transition.
It looks like there's no solution here.
In fact, we need to take a completely different approach. We must combine long-term and short-term thinking.
There's the solution.
But it's not simple. We are dealing with a dilemma. In other words, there's no perfect solution. We have to weigh up the pros and cons. Let's take social media for an example.
We all know the negative effects of this already.
Social networks aren't necessarily a bad thing. They make it easy to stay in touch with friends and family. It's how social networks are designed today that leads to negative consequences. For the companies that run social networks, it's all about selling advertisement. So they try to keep users on the social network for as long as possible. And they know that the best way to do this is to promote the most radical views. The algorithms are therefore designed to make users repeatedly receive radical messages that they didn't ask for. This is breeding misinformation and political radicalism.
We have to do something about this.
Of course, we could at least regulate how they write their algorithms. The problem is that there are several possible solutions and we need to agree on the best one.
Maybe we should consult experts about this?
To do that, we need experts who can handle uncertain knowledge. Collingridge has already addressed this problem.
An expert is traditionally seen as neutral, disinterested, unbiased, and likely to agree with his peers. On the view proposed here, none of these qualities can be attributed. Instead, an expert is best seen as a committed advocate, matching his opinions with other experts who take a different view of the data available to them in a critical battle.
So, we need a different kind of expert. And that's not all. The way experts arrive at solutions need to change too. When knowledge about the future is uncertain, it is difficult to find the best solution. We can only try to arrive at the best possible solution.
I'm concerned that lobby groups will exert a strong influence over this process once again.
And then there are cases where the consequences are completely unforeseeable because they actually have nothing to do with the technology itself. The microwave oven is one example of this.
It saves time.
Microwave technology was invented in the Second World War by Percy Spencer. He observed the effect of microwaves at a radar station when chocolate in his pants pocket melted. He soon built a microwave in his lab. At first, it wasn't used as a stove.
And what did he do with it?
Spencer amused himself by making an egg explode, which then landed on a colleague's face.
That's not very nice.
The first microwave oven was launched in 1967 and it slowly gained popularity. By 1989, a quarter of American households owned a microwave. By 1997, this figure had risen to 90%.
Microwave ovens are great because they save time by eliminating the need to cook.
The result was that families no longer ate together. Everyone heats up their meal in the microwave and eats at whatever time suits them, usually in front of the TV. Thus, a small household appliance had made a significant contribution to the breakdown of families. When people don't share meals together, they don't really see each other as much and end up living their own lives. The kitchen, which used to be the heart of the home, where everyone gathered, has become a self-service store, a place of passing through.
It used to be mainly women who did the cooking. Thanks to the microwave, they no longer had to do that.
A better solution would certainly be for both women and men to cook. Another negative consequence of the microwave is that food is becoming increasingly unhealthy. Ready-made meals that you put in the microwave contain large amounts of salt and sugar and other unhealthy additives. In the end, not only you are eating alone, but you are also at risk of becoming overweight and developing diabetes.
You can only hope that at least the TV programming is good.
New technologies can have effects that aren't directly related to the technology itself. People tend to focus only on the technical aspects and miss the social implications.
After all, humans aren't machines.
So it makes sense to examine new technologies from the very beginning, considering not just their technical aspects but also their implications for social life. Experts from all fields must be involved.
We shouldn't just listen to the lobbyists.
Corporate profits shouldn't be the only thing that matters. When seatbelts and later airbags were introduced in cars, companies didn't get richer as a result, but the number of traffic fatalities dropped significantly.
And what about AI?
That's why it should be regulated from the start. In the long run, it saves money. It's also in the company's interests for AI to be used over the long term.
And the big companies don't want it. So it really is a dilemma. Feel free to leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.